Before I bought the business, I was in Omaha and I was working for Ford Motor Company. And when the dealership here came up for sale, the dealer asked me if I would like to buy it. So we went home and I brought it up to my father-in-law, who was a CPA, and he says, I know Brookings, it's a wonderful town, college town. So we talked about it and he says, well, you've already shown that you can work for somebody bigger, but we don't know if you can work for yourself, and there's only one way to find out.
So we took off on October 1st of 1969, and I had our son Matt in a car bed beside me, and that's back in the days when you could get away with that stuff. They hadn't even invented seat belts yet. Well, I was pretty scared because I'd grown up in a bigger city, and I had heard a lot of negative comments about small towns in general. And I couldn't have found it more different than my expectations.
I owned the dealership. I was 28 years old, and I was the youngest Ford dealer in America. It was scary, to say the least, but the employees were so good and just carried on as usual, and we got off to a great start.
We had just a very few bays for service, and then we had office for Ron and the bookkeeper, and we had 2 salesmen and a parts counter, all within about 15 feet of each other.
Absolutely, I remember the old facility. I grew up there as a little kid. I probably knew every nook and cranny of that building, probably better than almost any employee. And of course, when we moved out here, that was such a major change. The area where the dealership is now was a cornfield when we moved out here. 3M was just building. Neither of the shopping malls were here. Hy-Vee wasn't here.
And when they moved into this building was literally when the recession hit in the early 80s, so they had zero money.
We went through some hard times in the dealership there for a while when interest rates got so high. Some of the dealerships went broke at the time, you know.
I mean, the economy was really rough. And it took a toll on my parents. It was hard on them, but they worked hard, they persevered, they made their way through it. And so I saw that part of it, and yet I saw it grow, and I knew the people within the business all the way through.
Well, I liked it here. I liked the job. I liked working with the people. I think we all had a good working attitude. We all wanted to do a good job and do our jobs right. And yet at the same time, we always had room for humor and just had a good time together.
A lot of times you're going to walk through the door and see the same people that were here 5 years ago when you bought your vehicle 10 years ago.
I never will forget the first Lincoln factory man that came in here to visit. He's like, wow, I didn't expect anything like this in Brookings. He was taking pictures like crazy. He said, this is the way a Lincoln dealership should look.
Working with my parents has been fantastic. My mom doesn't get enough credit. She brought us into the computer era. I mean, from putting everything in the dealership on computers to our first websites and everything like that, she knew what she was doing.
I mean, she was just the backbone that just made things happen.
And then fortunately, Matt was able to join us, and he just does a fabulous job.
Matt and I started here about the same time. And yes, I was here when Matt took over, when Ron kind of semi-retired and kind of eased out.
Never thought I was going to do this for a living. It really never occurred to me. And then I started selling cars going to college. And I got hooked because it was the people, the relationships. It was fun.
Ron's left a legacy that any businessman would be honored to have.
They've set a high precedence of what business is and how you treat customers, and they've held to it for 50 years, and I think that's why they're still here after 50 years.
And whereas we, the people of Brookings, wish to express our appreciation to Ron Einspahr for his contribution and dedication to this place that we all call home. Now therefore I, Keith Corbett, Mayor of the City of Brookings, do hereby proclaim Thursday, November 7th, 2019 as Ron Einspahr Day.
I would just like to congratulate the Einspahrs on their 50-year anniversary. That is such a milestone.
Congratulations, Ron, Johnny, Matt, and the entire Einspahr family. I really appreciate everything you've done for me, and I hope I've done a lot for you as well.
You know, it's been fun to not only know everybody all over the years, but to earn their trust and respect as the dealer, and for them to come to work still for our family, and for me now as the general manager. That's why I'm here, is the people, for the customers, and if we do business right, everything else takes care of itself.
I've always believed that if you treat others the way you'd like to be treated, you'll be successful. We want you as a friend and a customer for a lifetime.